To live like Jesus today might seem like a lofty ideal, one reserved for saints or spiritual leaders. But the truth is, the teachings and example of Jesus are accessible and relevant to anyone, even in our modern, fast-paced world. The question is not just whether we can be like Jesus, but how we can practically embody his values in our daily lives. Here are some practical tips for following Jesus' example right where you are. First and foremost, practice radical compassion. Jesus was known for his boundless compassion toward others. He healed the sick, welcomed the outcast, and listened to those society ignored. To live like Jesus today, start by being present for those around you. Notice the people in your life who might feel invisible or overlooked. Offer a listening ear, a kind word, or simple acts of service. Compassion doesn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes it's found in the smallest moments of connection. Second, embrace forgiveness. One of the core teachings of Jesus was to forgive others, not just once, but over and over again. Holding on to grudges and bitterness can weigh us down, but forgiveness frees us and those around us to move forward. When you're hurt or wronged, take a moment to pause, reflect, and consider extending forgiveness, even if it's difficult. This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, but it does mean releasing the hold that resentment has on your heart. Another practical way to live like Jesus is to serve others selflessly. Jesus washed his disciples' feet, an act of humility and service. In our own lives, we can serve others by volunteering, helping a neighbor, or simply being available when someone needs support. Look for opportunities to put others' needs before your own, whether that's sharing your time, resources, or skills. Be intentional about loving your enemies. It's easy to love those who love us, but Jesus challenged us to go further, to love those who are difficult, different, or even hostile. This might mean responding to negativity with kindness, refusing to retaliate, or seeking to understand those you disagree with. It takes courage and humility, but choosing love over hate can transform relationships and communities. Seek justice and stand up for what is right. Jesus spoke out against injustice and defended the marginalized. In today's world, this might look like advocating for those whose voices aren't heard, supporting ethical causes, or speaking up when you witness unfairness. Educate yourself about issues in your community and look for ways to make a positive difference, no matter how small. Cultivate a life of prayer and reflection. Jesus often withdrew to quiet places to pray and connect with God. In the busyness of modern life, it's easy to neglect our inner life. Set aside time each day for quiet reflection, meditation, or prayer. Use this time to align your intentions, seek guidance, and nurture your spiritual growth. Live with authenticity and integrity. Jesus was true to his values even when it was unpopular or risky. Strive to be honest and transparent in your words and actions. Stand up for what you believe in and let your actions match your principles, both in public and in private. Finally, practice gratitude and joy. Despite facing challenges, Jesus spoke about joy and encouraged his followers to live with hope. Take time each day to notice the good. Express gratitude for the blessings in your life and share positivity with those around you. Living like Jesus is not about perfection, but about progress. Each day offers a new opportunity to choose compassion, forgiveness, service, and love. By taking these practical steps, you can make a real impact, not just in your own life, but in the world around you. Worship is more than a ritual or a song sung on a Sunday morning. It's a profound expression of the human heart, a meeting point between the Creator and his creation. Deep within every person lies a longing for meaning, for connection, for purpose. Worship answers that longing, providing a way to respond to God's goodness, love, and majesty. But why does worship matter? And how does praising God with a grateful heart transform our lives? From the earliest days of humanity, people have been drawn to worship. Whether through song, prayer, or acts of service, worship is a universal language. It's an acknowledgement that there is something, someone, greater than ourselves. In the Christian faith, worship is directed toward God, who is seen as the source of all life and blessing. Giving thanks, praising him, and recognizing his hand in our lives are central to the act of worship. But this is not just about duty or obligation. True worship flows from a heart that is grateful, a heart that has recognized the depth of God's love and responded with awe and thankfulness. Worship matters because it shifts our focus. In the busyness and struggles of daily life, it's easy to become consumed by worries, disappointments, or the pursuit of success. When we worship, especially with gratitude, we are reminded of the bigger picture. We remember that we are not alone, that the God who created the universe cares for us deeply. This perspective brings comfort and hope. It helps us to see beyond our circumstances and to trust in God's goodness, even when life is hard. A grateful heart is key to meaningful worship. Gratitude doesn't always come naturally, especially in times of hardship or loss. Yet it is in those very moments that choosing to praise God can have the most profound impact. When we give thanks in all circumstances, we're not ignoring our pain or pretending everything is perfect. Instead, we are acknowledging that God is present with us, that His love remains constant, and that His promises are true. This act of faith fuels resilience, peace, and even joy in the midst of trials. Worship with a grateful heart also transforms relationships. When we focus on God's goodness and express gratitude for His blessings, our perspective on others begins to change. We become more patient, more compassionate, and more forgiving. Gratitude roots out bitterness and envy, replacing them with generosity and love. As we worship together, we build community, encouraging one another to keep our eyes fixed on God and to celebrate His work in each other's lives. Moreover, worship is not limited to music or church gatherings. It's a way of life. Every act of kindness, every sacrifice made out of love, every moment spent in awe of God's creation can be an act of worship. When we approach our daily lives with a grateful heart, our work, our interactions, and even our struggles become opportunities to honor God. Gratitude infuses ordinary moments with meaning and opens our eyes to the countless ways God is at work around us. In the end, worship matters because it changes us. It draws us closer to God, aligns our hearts with His, and fills us with peace and purpose. Praising God with a grateful heart is not just a spiritual discipline. It's a pathway to joy, a shield against despair, and a source of strength in every season of life. So whether in moments of triumph or times of trial, let us lift our voices, open our hearts, and worship with gratitude. For in doing so, we discover the true depth of God's love and the fullness of life He offers. To follow Jesus is more than just a statement of belief. It is a transformative journey that shapes every aspect of a person's life. At its core, following Jesus means embracing a relationship, not just a religion. It's an invitation to walk alongside the one who spoke of love, compassion, and sacrifice, whose teachings have inspired countless generations to seek a higher purpose beyond themselves. But what does it really mean day by day to follow in His footsteps? It begins with understanding who Jesus is. For Christians, He is not only a historical figure, but the embodiment of God's love, who entered the world to restore, heal, and save. His life was marked by humility, born in a manger, living without wealth or status, and spending His days with the marginalized and outcast. To follow Jesus, therefore, means to adopt this same posture of humility, recognizing that greatness is found not in what we own or achieve, but in how we serve others. Jesus called His first disciples with two simple words: "Follow me." They left behind their fishing nets and livelihoods, trusting that He would lead them to something greater. For us today, the call is just as radical. Following Jesus may mean letting go of comfort, ambition, or even old ways of thinking. It challenges us to trust, even when the path ahead is uncertain. It's about surrendering our own agendas and allowing His words and example to guide our choices. Central to following Jesus is the commandment to love. Love God with all our heart, soul, and mind, and love our neighbor as ourselves. This love is not passive or selective. It reaches across boundaries and breaks down barriers. It means caring for the hungry, forgiving those who have wronged us, and seeking justice for the oppressed. It's a love that is patient, kind, and selfless, a reflection of the love Jesus showed when He washed His disciples' feet and gave His life for others. But following Jesus is not a solo journey. It happens within a community, where believers encourage one another, share joys and burdens, and grow together in faith. This community becomes a visible sign of Jesus' presence in the world, a place where grace, acceptance, and accountability flourish. It's here that the teachings of Jesus come alive, not just in words, but in everyday actions and relationships. Of course, the path of following Jesus is not always easy. It can mean facing misunderstanding, rejection, or even persecution. Jesus himself warned his followers that the road would be narrow, that it would involve taking up a cross, laying down one's life for others. Yet, he also promised that in losing our lives for his sake, we would find them. This paradox lies at the heart of discipleship, that true freedom and fulfillment are found not in self-centeredness, but in self-giving love. To follow Jesus is to live with hope. It is to believe that even in a world marked by suffering and injustice, God is at work bringing about redemption and renewal. It's a call to be peacemakers, to work for reconciliation, and to be agents of light in dark places. It means trusting that in the end, love will prevail. Ultimately, following Jesus is a lifelong journey of becoming more like him, learning to see others through his eyes, to act with his compassion, and to trust in his promises. It's a path marked by grace, where failures are met with forgiveness, and every step draws us closer to the heart of God. To follow Jesus, then, is to say yes to a life of purpose, meaning, and unending love.